Welcome to Royal Anoles. It's wet hair, Cameron. Roll the intro. Ooh, you expected to snap now, didn't you? All right. I'm going to be a negative Nancy, as some would say. Why is that? Because today we're going to talk about things you shouldn't do with your Cuban false chameleon. Or anything, or just negative things around Cuban false chameleons and Anoles Barbados, essentially. Yeah, who's excited? Okay, let's go into topic 1. Yep, man bun Royal Anoles. I'll regret this when this comes out. But as you know, Cuban false chameleons are anoles and are commonly talked about to be super handable. I've even gone and told you that they're super handable, but something I always neglect to be saying lately is explaining that more. Now, is any reptile handable? Never out of the box. You know what I mean? Out the egg, 9 times out of 10. That lizard is not gonna like you, whoever hatched it, whatever, you know. It takes time. Certain lizards will never tame down. Some are going to be really good to tame down, and some are really easy to tame down. Now, Cuban false chameleons are a great example of that, because when they come out as babies, they are kind of squeamish. You know, they're trying to wiggle out of your hand, go here, 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 everywhere. But, you know, if you take care of them, you know, you really make them associate you with food, they will mellow out really well. It makes them great pets for people, you, I, everybody in between. Biggest thing I'd say that you shouldn't do is buy from a Petco, PetSmart, or someone who bought a bunch off, say, Wholesale ABCD, and just, here guys, here's a lizard at the expo, buy my lizard, $80, yay. But those animals are raised in poor conditions, they aren't treated well, and you're probably like, oh, I can save the lizard. Are you going to save the 5 more that takes the place of that one you bought? No, because you do not have the space. Everyone does not have the space to keep buying them. Because you know what they're going to do at the end of the day? Put another in the cage. They're going to put another on the table. They're going to put another in a deli cup. They're going to hatch another egg. The biggest way to stop something is not to buy it. Call it cruel, call it rude, but if you let these animals sit into these wholesalers long enough, they're going to get in the motion that these aren't making money. They're just not going to make money off them. So they're going to sell off the whole thing. And next thing you know, you don't see these being wholesaled anymore, which is great because then you have, well, people who are breeding them like me or anybody else who is willing. That'll be a whole different video. Sub and watch for later. Now, who is actually sitting down, working with these individuals, working with these animals, making sure they're healthy, raising them up, and doing all the good stuff for these animals so they're nice, healthy, and ready to breed properly and won't die at a young age, live the longest stint of their life, and just be overall great pets for you at home. When it comes to cohabitation of your Cuban false chameleons, as you're obviously running male-male, what's going to happen is you're going to have to end up cleaning one up because one's going to die. It's a factual statement, and the other will most likely die in time because of the injuries sustained. Because, you know, anoles will combat each other, especially when there's other males, to prove for breeding rights and territory rights and a handful of other reasons, and just general lizard fighting stuff. So that's why you don't do 2 males, because 9 times out of 10, one will die. If this is wild, you know, one male would have won, the other one ran off found a new area that would have became his home. But these are cages that aren't exactly a tire island. The other thing is that if you're doing female-female, if you have another male in the room or in the cage, the females can build a pecking order, which is essentially, hey, I'm the top girl here, the other won't, and the other can be like, okay, I'm chilling, or not agree with that and fight the female, which can also bring the male in and just cause generally more injuries and not exactly a fun time for you or your animals at all. But if you're doing a pair of Cubans together, male, female, obviously, of age, well, you know, if you got a male and a female, they try to do some safe YouTube words exactly, and make babies. Now, they don't just make 1 or 2 babies, and so it isn't like, oh, my dog had a litter. There's 4, 6 puppies in the living room right now that are all 100% dependent and chilling on mama. No, at least 30 eggs. Most will be fertile because, you know, you're taking good care of your animals. They're going to be laying some fertile eggs. Most will end up being fertile, which, you know, after, if you somehow manage to incubate all of them, guess what? Now you have 30 hungry mouse that need to eat a lot because they're anoles. Anoles eat a lot and lizards eat a lot. Baby lizard eats a lot. So there are a lot of baby lizards that want to eat, and you have to provide that food. And if you somehow can't sell them all, now you have 30 plus adults, which will mostly be male, believe it or not, that you're gonna have to now provide independent enclosures for because you can't cohab them. Yeah. So be what it be. Don't breed these animals just because you feel like it. Be smart with your actions. I trust a lot of y'all's mindset, but I'm gonna make a video on it later, put my opinion, and hopefully guide some people who were gonna do this for the wrong reasons in the right direction. I beg you to sub to the channel, and I'll beg this time. I'm joking, but pretty much as you know, guess what? Anole content, great content, non-anole content. You're probably seeing all the thumbnails on the screen. Sub to the channel. There's a lot of stuff going on. Potential interviews with some of my buddies and other breeders in Texas and around, all this and that. Content's on the way, new project, larger anoles. Beauties! Beauties! Okay, that's it. Cohabbing a younger pair. More specifically, what can actually result in doing something like this. Now, as you know, anoles breed really young and can breed younger than what is typically said to be their minimum, which is normally about a year or 12 months. But if you keep a young pair together, there's a good chance that they could breed a little too young. Now, what does that mean for you at home? Now, let's just say you have a younger pair that breed in. Well, what happens is now you have all the issues like we mentioned earlier, but now you're dealing with an issue of a female that was not ready 110% to lay eggs and will start slowing down, maybe go off food, and a good chance she can die from being egg bound. Not enough nutrition in their diet because she's going to go off food and not eat as efficiently, or just be overall not as a healthy animal, and they can end really poorly for the animal, not enjoyable. So if you do breed your Cubans, after everything I told you, well, my biggest hint of advice is to make sure they're the proper age you got them at. Buy from a reputable breeder like I mentioned earlier so you know how old they are. And you just have everything ready for your animal, and you're not going to get screwed over, or you're not going to hurt your animal. It's kind of a no-no with Cubans is actually to feed them consistently one kind of thing. That could be roaches, crickets, superworms, whackworms, snails. Consistently feeding these guys one feeder can end kind of poorly for you in the aspect of, well, your animal only wanting to eat one feeder. Now that can be difficult for numerous reasons. Say you're feeding them superworms. As you know, superworms are good for, getting up some fat, a little bit of protein, but they're not the healthiest option. But if your animal gets, say, fixed on eating only supers, then you're going to see a lot of downsides in their diet, a lot of problems with their internal organs, especially their kidneys. That's why you need to make sure you have a well-balanced diet with them, which I'll be releasing a video later on relatively soon about their diet, so sub for that. But, with your feeding them a diverse diet, one, let's say, your main feeder person, or whoever you get your feeders or company, whatever, is running low this week so they don't have enough to sell to you. Or they just don't have enough to sell to anyone in general. Now, you're in kind of a pickle because now you don't have what your lizard eats. Now, but say if you're the guy who has a lizard that eats crickets, roaches, this and that, well, oh, Lady B, C, or D is out of, say, crickets, well, let me feed my lizard this week roaches or superworms, That's the perk of it, and there's a lot of downsides of just feeding one thing. So, be smart, yeah, and I think this is the end of the video. Bye!